It's a sad week for UNLV football. A crushing loss in the Mountain West Championship, a popular head coach on the move. What's next for the Rebels? Will they build on what Barry Odom started, or will the program retreat to the days of old? All that and more coming up right now on Sin City Beat.
From Las Vegas, this is Sin City Beat.
Hello and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us here on Sin City Beat. I'm your host, Mike Davis. Sin City Beat is the show that dissects the Vegas sports world through the eyes of the sports reporters and storytellers leading the charge. On today's show, after a noteworthy week, we're breaking down the future of UNLV football. Joining the action today, we got Ray Brewer, managing editor of the Las Vegas Sun. Mike Ramala, sports reporter with the Las Vegas Sun, very festive, and former UNLV running back, the Rebels' all-time leading rusher, the Chuck Wagon, Charles Williams. Thanks so much for being here, guys. So let's dive right in. Last Friday, the Rebels go down in the Mountain West Championship. Number 10, Boise State wins on their blue turf, 21-7. On Sunday morning, the news breaks that head coach Barry Odom has accepted a job offer from Purdue University. Then on Tuesday, Coach Odom is formally introduced as the new coach of the Boilermakers. So I have so many questions, but I want to start with this. Mike Ramala, did Barry Odom make the right choice?
Easiest question you're going to get out there. Of course he made the right choice. It's $6 million. There's only one choice. There is no choice.
Let's break down the figures. I even heard 7. What's the exact offer?
The number that's reported is 6 years, $39 million, which is 6.5 or.
And tell everybody at home, what was he making here?
For this season, Barry Odom made $1.75 million, which is a lot of money. That's a tremendous amount of money to be making, but it's not $6 million.
Are we living in a world? Listen, it's the holiday season, Mike Ramala. It's a festive time. Is everything about money?
Yes, 100%. That's his job. His job is to be a football coach. That's what, it's his profession. He's a professional guy. He's always offered a big promotion, a huge raise. Of course he's going to take it.
Okay, but for the rest of the panel, he took the first offer, it seems like, on the table. So he could have made more money somewhere else. I mean, what do we think about that, just Purdue, the fact that he took the first offer on the table?
So Purdue, for me, is a job that's a clean slate, right? They were the worst team in the Big Ten this year. There's zero expectations, and he could see a path to getting them to 500, which would be a gigantic step in the right direction. And then again, $38 million is just tough to turn down. It's tough to go from a guy that was 500 at Missouri in the SEC to excelling at UNLV to going back to maybe the SEC where the salaries are 7 to 10 million. The range that he got and the program that he's going to get to coach in, there's no pressure. You win 3 games, it's like, oh, this guy increased our win total by 50%.
He's going to get a raise.
He's going to get a raise. So it's a perfect spot because there's zero expectations, and then the money's there.
So it's a win-win in your eyes. Chuck, what do you think about this? As a former player, I mean, how is this the right choice that he made, and how hurt would you be if you were a member of this Rebels football team?
Money talks, honestly. He didn't make the wrong decision. You got to take care of your family at all times, and this deal will, make sure the next coming years that his family's secured no matter what. Even if they fire him, they have to buy him out. So I don't think he will get fired, but I'm saying, there's no loss for him in this situation. So 6 years, $39 million, that's a lot of money. I'll take that too, honestly. But the biggest thing is he, like Ray said, he's going to Purdue. They were 1-11, 1 and something, I don't know. But
shortchange him. They had 1 too, but it's okay.
They got 2.
But the thing is, they're gonna be able to. He's gonna be able to come in there, clean house, and then if they go, let's say 6-6, that's a win for him. That season is a win because going from 1-12, 1-11, or wait, what is it?
2-10.
Sorry, I don't pay attention to Purdue that much, but him coming in and doing that is just is building progress already. So I think he's going to be fine out there. Let's see what the recruiting class looks like, and hope all is well for him. Honestly, he did a lot for UNLV.
Mike Romano, we saw a lot. I mean, listen, we've been talking about this notion, this idea that Barry Odom could be on the move for months. This is something, it shouldn't be a shock or a surprise. How surprised, though, were you when this came out as quickly as it did?
Not very surprised. When he spoke in his press conference after the Mountain West Championship game, I think we all knew in the room that it was probably the last time we were going to see Barry Odom as the head coach of UNLV football. They had just done too well over his 2 seasons here. He did too good of a job. There are too many openings every year on the coaching carousel. It was honestly a miracle that he came back after last offseason. Like, I thought he would be gone after that 1 year turnaround. They got him back for 1 more year. That was pretty much the end of the road. Like, it had run its course. You were not going to keep him for another year. I think we all sort of knew that and expected it going in.
The thing that confused me was the location. I knew he was going to leave,
right?
But my initial thought was Purdue, because in that league you're always going to play second fiddle to Ohio State and to Michigan,
right?
And USC is now in the league, and Wisconsin always does well, and Purdue is just like Purdue. It's like, okay, there's our homecoming game. Purdue's coming to town.
And that's why I think a lot of people share that sentiment. But you almost answered your own question.
Correct.
You said it's a win-win.
Correct.
That's how people described UNLV before he got here.
He's
like,
not going
to.
He's Michael. Nobody. History tells us that Ohio State and Michigan are going to be Ohio State and Michigan forever.
Well,
Purdue is going to get 1 year of Drew
UNLV
Brees.
has to deal with Boise State in their conference, and as you said, like UNLV was a place where one game matters. It's against Reno. Like, that's the only game that matters. So you're describing the UNLV situation. It's just up a little bit.
Let me just ask this, because Chuck, you would understand this as well. To me, Barry Odom, a high-level coach, a high-level athlete, they bet on their talent. So to me, it wouldn't be like, let me choose the destination where if I fail, it's still a win-win kind of thing. I would think he would hold out because he feels, confident in his own coaching ability that I could coach a top-tier program in the Big Ten. Wouldn't you feel that way?
This isn't a top-tier program. Purdue could go 12-0 and be
That's
the number
what I'm
1
saying.
seed in the playoffs, and people will say, who's the best team in the Big Ten to go? Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon. Purdue is never going to be mentioned in the breadth of top college football programs nationally, and that's just fine. He got $38 million, and all power to him, and let's see if he can rebuild it. He's a rebuilder. That's great, and thank God he did what he did here. He was so great that somebody envied what he did and thought that he could do it at their university. We've gone through 2 wins, 2-win, 2-win, 2-win fire, 2-win, 2-win, 2-win fire. We finally got a coach that left us because he made UNLV into a better place. Not since Ron Meyer went to SMU 50 years ago for the Pony Express has UNLV not had to fire a coach. So it's a good deal for everybody.
All right. Well, listen, a lot went right in the 2 years Barry Odom led the football program here. But next, I'm asking the Sin City Beat panel, what went wrong? Don't go anywhere.
You're watching Sin City Beat.
All right, so in the 5 seasons prior to Barry Odom, UNLV football won a total of 20 games. Now, over the last 2 seasons, Coach Odom led the Rebels to a record of 19-8, a historic turnaround. And of course, this season, the team made history, becoming the first-ranked football team ever for UNLV. So there's good reason Purdue would want to go after a guy like Coach Odom. The terms of his buyout from UNLV cost $3 million, and we all know a lot went right during this tenure under Coach Odom. But the important question to ask is what went wrong? Ray Brewer, until, this past Mountain West Championship game, so much good stuff happening. But what changes if UNLV beats Boise State in the Mountain West Championship? Is Coach Odom then forced to stay?
Yes, it delays his departure.
What does that mean?
Because he'd obviously have to stay to coach in the playoff. The mystery is if UNLV would have beat Boise, UNLV makes the playoff, they get some big lump sum of cash, and would the university then take that and give Barry an extension that pays $38 million. Would that be fiscally responsible?
Or would he have just missed out on the coaching carousel, and Purdue would have had to go somewhere else sooner than later? That's what, would he have just had to stay here because of that success?
These coaching deals are in the works before games are played. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Barry Odom and Purdue were already far down that road even before the Mountain West Championship game was played. So if they're willing to wait through then, they'll wait another couple of weeks until they play their playoff game. Like, if it's locked in, you can wait and let them finish out your season.
Let me interrupt, though, because I'm about to have a conniption, because I know a former player is going to, feel this sentiment and share it with me. He should be prepping for the Mountain West Championship game. He shouldn't be on, job interviews. That shouldn't be top of mind, and I hate that that's the culture. How would the team respond to that, Chuck? When you got a guy, yes, he's a coach that a lot of people want, but if he's prepping for the Mountain West Championship thinking about Purdue, that's setting us up for failure.
Well, as a player, you never know, what's going on behind, closed doors, but you could just, feel it, there's something weird going on.
So players would know.
They could tell, something's going on, coach not acting the same at practice, or he's not, his
It's like your girlfriend's cheating. And and you can't, you know something, but you don't have proof.
We'll say the Mountain West Championship game was on Friday. He left on Sunday morning.
Exactly.
Do you think he interviewed on Saturday? No, he's interviewing the week leading up to the Boise State game. Probably more than one interview. He's putting a lot of time into it. I trust that Barry Odom is also putting his best work towards developing a game plan and getting them ready for that Mountain West Championship. But it is, it's a time stressor to do both. But that's just the way it's done. I'm just telling you how it's done.
He wasn't going through the motions in closing out the season because he had something better on the horizon. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're at the facility 18 hours a day. You got 6 hours to go home. Mm-hmm. Do whatever you want in your 6 hours. One of those hours included doing a Zoom call with Purdue to tell him that he's going to, build a great defense.
I disagree. I just don't understand how you can't say, hey, listen, put this on hold. I got business to attend to.
But let's deal with it. This is sports. We're always thinking about what's next. Instead of savoring where we're at in the journey, it's like, okay, well, this quarterback's going to leave. Who's going to be our quarterback next year? Who are we going to recruit? You just won the Super Bowl, and instead of going over and saying, hey, how do you feel about winning the Super Bowl? It's, hey, you're 38, are you going to retire? Was this your swan song? We're constantly looking ahead in sports, and you're right, it's a disservice to the student athletes in the program who only have a 4-year window, but this is the nature of sports. The portal opened on Monday. You got to be ready to roll, baby.
That's all I have to say about that. I'm glad NIL is available to these players now, because when a coach leaves,
yes,
at least I can't go anywhere, but I have this NIL deal. Or the portal being, you don't sit out a year, because I used to say it's unfair that a coach can sit here in your house, tell you all this stuff. You go to their school, you play for them, and then he's like, I'm going to Purdue. So you just sit here in the UNLV, and I'm going to go to Purdue.
Yeah, but it's not their school. It's our school.
Our school. You know what I mean?
Right. You're the best player on the team, dude. But your name's at #1 in the record book. It's our school.
But I always felt like it was unfair to us because we made a commitment to you guys, but then as soon as you leave, where does our commitment go?
Who's your commitment to? Is it to UNLV or is it to Barry Odom?
Well, signing day is that week. So as those faxes are coming in, Barry Odom's also doing his, he's also
including NIL from his son.
We're not going to solve this argument today on this panel, but listen, we got to get to break. But listen, everything you guys are saying is super true. Now listen, the coaching search is officially on. Who are the candidates? Bill Belichick is on his way to UNLV now. He's a Tar Heel. So I'm starting to feel like anything is possible for UNLV. The panel is going to throw out some names after the break. The NFL's greatest coach is now headed to college. Bill Belichick is becoming the next head coach at University of North Carolina. Belichick is going to look good in Tar Heel blue, but I want to know who's going to look good in Rebel Red. I think it's officially Scarlet. Ray would know that. Chuck, the coaching search is now on for the Rebels. So who do you want to see as the next head coach? And during the break, you were saying something fascinating. You were saying a lot of these high school athletes, their commitment, their loyalty isn't to the school, it's to the coach. So getting the coach right is a key thing.
So what coaches are out there that, pop out when you first think this? Bill Belichick, yeah, but he's not coming to UNLV. So you got to look in-house first. So we got Coach Marion, we got the DC. Coach Alexander would be a great coach too. So out of those three, who do you feel is the most comfortable to lead your team, through this stretch right now? And honestly, I think Harper made the good decision choosing Coach Alexander because one, it's not permanent. If things go well, it's okay, I can look for a new coach. If I can't find anybody, I'll just stick with Coach Alexander.
So you like the interim tag
for
that right now. But do you think this organization, this team should be looking internally, or should this be an external search?
For Harper's case, you have to go out external because, you have to show that you're an athletic director that can go reach out to anybody and somebody wants to come to your school and coach there because you're a high-level athletic director and your school is a program that's rising and exceeding expectations each year. The biggest thing is doing it internally is, okay, now how are we going to do this? Who are you keeping? Who are you, getting rid of? Are you going to keep the players? Or what about the players that leave to go to Purdue? What are you going to do about that?
Right.
It's more pressure on them internally. But externally, you can come in and clean house. But then again, who's going to come in and do what Barry did in the last 2 years?
It's a hard thing to think about.
Why do we think that Barry's the only person that can coach football? Is Jackson Woodard's diploma say University of Barry Odom? Come on. He God bless him. He gave us a formula to run a good football program, and the infrastructure's in place. Great stadium, great practice facility, a ton of momentum, nationally ranked, 40,000 people at Allegiant Stadium. The new person could come in and put their own spin on it. The key is getting a coach that could outcoach the Hawaii coach, the New Mexico coach, the Utah State coach. Because if you look at Barry's 19 wins, he beat the Little Sisters of the Poor very well. But then when he got up against the Boise State that could actually have guys, Jimmys and Joes, he couldn't do it. So UNLV is not going back to 2 wins, Mike and Michael. They're going to be a perennial bowl
My
contender.
name's Michael, too.
Michael and Michael. But what I'm saying, the world isn't collapsing. There's more than one person that can coach. I don't know if going with Marion or Scherzer or Schreier, however you say his name, is worthwhile. Why not bring somebody in that could put their spin on it instead of trying to run back what Barry did with people that aren't Barry?
Mike, follow that up. How can you follow that
With the exact opposite. Very short coaching search. You turn around, you say, Brendan Marion, do you want to be the head coach? And if he says yes, you're great. You're off and running.
Are you comfortable with that?
In my opinion, he would be the best candidate. By the time this airs, he may already be the head coach. Do you want to score 38 points a game for the next 3 years? Do you want to have an all Mountain West quarterback every single year?
Chuck, this is where I just lay back.
No.
I let
He's
these
a
two
great
guys
X's and O
ham it
guy.
out.
I agree with that. But 2 months ago, we were in here talking about Matthew Sluka and the $100,000 whatever.
Listen.
You can't do that as the head coach.
Did he trick a young man into coming to UNLV and then not pay him? Probably, but that's something he'll answer for that in the job interview with Eric
Listen,
Harper.
we have 30 seconds. Can I ask? I just want a yes or no. How much did the Matthew Sluka element play into maybe just creeping in the back of Barry Odom's mind that this program, this mentality, there might be faulty wires
Barry
at play?
Odom does not want NIL for his players. He doesn't want players to have individual NIL deals. I don't know if that's going to fly at Purdue. He didn't want it here, so I don't think the Sluka thing bothered him at all.
Okay, all right, guys. Can UNLV keep up with the momentum that Barry Odom injected into this program? Will the next head coach maintain and add to this new juice that we've found? Athletic Director Eric Harper has a tough task ahead of him. We have more Sin City Beat after these words. Welcome back to Sin City Beat. Well, momentum is a funny thing. You either believe in it or you don't. Barry Odom made UNLV football fans believers over the past 2 seasons, and now many fans have come to find that their faith is wavering when it comes to matters of faith, I personally go to Ray Brewer, then my rabbi, in that order. Ray, can we build on what Barry Odom started, and do you still have faith in this program?
Absolutely. Not only can UNLV maintain what Barry Odom did, I think that they could become a perennial bowl contender. I think the sky's the limit. We saw the beginning of what is going to be a glorious run for UNLV football. Of course, they need to get the right person to continue Barry's vision or mission and maintain Barry's vision or mission. Michael, I know you want to aggravate me, but
aggravate him,
on
please.
purpose.
You wandered through the desert.
That's all I want for Christmas.
You spent 40 years in the desert.
40 days, but go ahead.
For you, no, for UNLV, it's 40 years in the desert.
Yes.
You finally hit on something that works, and then you want to throw it out. When the guy, Brendan Marion, who, if they're smart, will be hired by the time this airs, he's the guy that will continue. He's going to do what you said. He'll continue what they've done the last 2 years.
Barry Odom, Michael, was driving a Cadillac.
Barry Odom
Had 40 people in the back. Brendan Marion had a staff of 5. He don't know how to drive the
If
Cadillac.
it was up to Barry Odom, that Bobby Petrino would be driving that Cadillac because that's the guy he hired. He lucked into Brendan Marion.
Exactly. 48 million or whatever Odom's
That's
getting
the
at Purdue.
Getting Brendan Marion here was probably the luckiest, greatest thing that ever happened to UNLV football. And
Luckier than the drive to beat Kansas?
And you want to look that gift horse in the mouth and say, no, we'll bring in someone from outside
Listen,
the
we got
program
about a
and just roll the
minute.
dice.
We got about a minute left. Chuck, momentum-wise, a lot of great stuff over the past 2 years. First time in history this team was ever ranked. Is the momentum going to be lost? Can we find this again? Has it already left the building with Barry Odom leaving? We got 20 seconds.
No. As long as the core players say it's going to always be there. Or on top of that, is so many recruits coming in that stayed committed to UNLV after he left. I think that the program is going to be in good shape, but it's just a matter of who comes in. I think,
All right. Well, we're going to see. There's a lot of different things in the works. I want to thank Chuck. I want to thank Ray. I want to thank Mike. I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time here on Sin City Beat.